I think people need to be clear. What does an auction clearance mean? It means that properties went to auction on a specific day, what proportion went to auction and what sold. Now, what we clearly know is that if there's 1,000 properties submitted to auction, there's a proportion of those properties that get sold prior. Then there's the rest of them go to auction that day. Uncollectibles are the ones that the data companies that call the estate agents on a Saturday, for instance, don't get a response, or there has been no communication with that agent. So it's called uncollected. I haven't collected it. Here's the problem. The problem is this, that generally speaking, uncollected results are properties that have not sold. And what has actually happened is the agent is either prolonging the negotiation to try and put the deal together after auction, or what's actually happening is that they have chosen not to speak to the people calling them to get the results. They like to have...
They've had a bad day and gone to the pub.
They've had a bad day, they've gone to the pub and they've thought to themselves, I'm not going to have this appear in the Sunday media. This is very important because what it means is that sometimes, like, you know, last week or the week before, there was 50% uncollectibles in Brisbane. There was 30% uncollectibles in Sydney and 20% uncollectibles in Melbourne, which meant that the clearance rate, which in Sydney and Melbourne was, you know, in the 60s, would have been potentially closer to the low 50s. And in Brisbane, it could have been under 50%.
And so have the real estate agents, do they not, if it's a bad result, do they not want to tell them because then it kind of highlights that property hasn't gone through and then it makes it even harder to exchange it later on during the week?
I think it's a reflection of, if it's a negative, if it hasn't sold, an agent doesn't like the fact that they've got their name next to a result that hasn't sold, and I think in their vendor's interest that they think, let's withhold that information, right? Some agents report on those. All I'm saying is the majority of the properties that are unreported are generally properties that have not sold, and that affects the auction clearance rates. And I hope the Reserve Bank does not make decisions based on results that on clearance rates.
So keep an eye on uncollectibles. Great information, Tom.